Hello, and welcome to another episode of Something Chat Show. Tom Jr. Jackson. Will I ever get the name of my show right? Probably not. But what am I going to do? So, this is, excuse me. Let me start this off by saying there are some movies that speak to a generation, and there are those that are the product of their time. And then there are those films that have the feel of the time they take place in. And Fast Times at Ridgemont High, if I can pronounce this right. Fast Times at Ridgemont High is one of those films. And this is after the movie review number 17. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. But first, have you checked out Positive Fandom yet on YouTube? Because this is a channel that may be for you. Positive Fandom is a channel where it's hosted by the lovely RM, my friend, I'm her co-collaborator. Sometimes I make the mistake in calling myself a co-conspirator, which, I don't know what we're conspiracying on yet. If you know, let us know in the comments. She does unboxings, she does movie reviews, TV reviews, out of the theater reviews, and the apex show of her channel is a little show called Sunday Brunch Live. And RM is the host, and her co-host is Russ Whitfield, with a parlay about all the pop culture news that's fit to talk about throughout the week and up to the time of that show. Join the chat. Look up Positive Fandom on YouTube. Join the chat and be part of the conversation. Be part of that conversation, because that's something that we also enjoy over there. Positive Fandom is when we're discussing a topic and you, the viewer, get into the chat and discuss with us. Also, let's see here. That should be it. Oh, if you have a YouTube channel or an Instagram feed, please share it with us in the links on Positive Fandom's Sunday Brunch. When it's live at 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 a.m. Pacific time. And if you have a YouTube channel or a Instagram feed, we will share it, because we believe in promoting creators. We celebrate creators. That is RM's commitment to her viewers. She's committed to all of you. So come, join us. Also, the Post Geek Singularity YouTube channel. Check that channel out, where you can, for as low as 99 cents, join the Post Geek Singularity. That's right. And what are these perks? Well, there are perks like you can join every 2 weeks. There is a Zoom call for members only, where you can talk to the captain himself, Robert Meyer Burnett. And on the Post Geek Singularity channel, he has such shows as Midnight Metal, Midnight Musings, Fully Articulated, Let's Get Physical Media, whining about movies, and the Apex show with the captain himself, observations with your captain, Robert Meyer Burnett. That is the show that he does. So all the links to those things down in the description. Yeah, the description. So now back to the review, shall we? Now, Fast Times at Ridgemont High is about a group of Southern California high school students who are enjoying that time in their life when their most important subjects are fashion, are in fashion, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Fast Times at Ridgemont High is, if I can ever learn the title of it, it's in front of me. Right in front of me, like that, and I keep messing it up. Fast Times at Ridgemont High is one of those movies that it's got to be. It's a rite of passage to watch it, and it's a fun movie. It's a great movie. This film is fantastic because the cast, it's like a who's who of actors. Judge Reinhold, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Phoebe Cates, Sean Penn, Ray Walston, not to mention the amazing amount of cameos in this film as well. Nicolas Cage, this is his first role. He is billed as Nicholas Coppola. Eric Stoltz, Forrest Whitaker, Anthony Edwards, Stu Kornfeld, who is a producer on a lot of Ben Stiller movies and book films as well. Martin Brest, yes, Martin Brest, director of Beverly Hills Cop. Martin Brest, amazing director. Taylor Negron, Nancy Wilson of Heart, and Lana Clarkson. And I know a lot of you are like, Lana Clarkson? Yes, that Lana Clarkson. I won't go into it here, but look her up. And when you see that, you'll be like, oh, that Lana Clarkson. Now, this is the first time directing job for Amy Heckerling. And Amy Heckerling was the director of a little movie, maybe you've heard of it, called Clueless. Yeah, she directed that movie. And this film, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, is based on a screenplay that's based on a book by Cameron Crowe, who also wrote the screenplay. Cameron Crowe, who wrote Say Anything, that we reviewed a few shows ago, and Say Anything, Singles, and Almost Famous. Yeah, those movies. So it's nice to see that, you know. When you see a movie like that's done as a book to screen, or you have a director that a writer on it, you go, wait, who directed it? Who wrote it? Who did this? Who did that? And you find out these things. That's I love that. The film takes place at a time when going to the mall was a thing, and you could get dropped off there as a kid and spend 3, 4, 5, 6 hours in the arcade or walking around the mall and visit it. And if you're lucky, you would see your friends from school or your normal friends there. It was the place in the 80s to hang out. And I remember this, where, I had friends who were, I'm going to the mall. And I was very, very, back then, it was a very hip thing to do. I'm going to the mall and I'm hanging out with my friends. Um, the tone of this film is very much like American Graffiti, which is unconventional. It's not a linear storyline. It is little A, B, C, and D type lines. It goes from dating to maybe a pregnancy. There's just a wide, like being in a high school class and whatnot. And I think movies like this, it makes me wonder. I think there are kids at that time that may have seen this who thought, well, is this what high school is like? Is this what I'm in for? And yeah, I think we do have a certain view on how we see things on the big screen towards real life. And I think sometimes we would rather have life be like it is on the big screen. Um, yeah, I do think that. What else do I have here? Now, this film, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, is very, very famous. And if you know, you know. And if you don't, it's very famous for a certain scene with an actress named Phoebe Cates. And Phoebe Cates is she's the wife of Kevin Kline, who was in the movie Dave, The Big Chill, In and Out, one of my favorite films, In and Out. But said scene was so famous that when people would rent it, there'd be a flicker on what they call a VHS tape, and be a flicker in the tape because it was being played over and over and over and over and over again. I'll let you guess why. Did you guess? Yep. Now, Universal, the studio that released and made Fast Times, didn't think this film would become a hit. And they only considered releasing it on the West Coast rather than the East Coast. And when they ended up releasing it and it became so big, it became a word of mouth thing. And so they went a very wide release and it became a very big hit. But they didn't think it was going to do well and that people from the East Coast wouldn't understand the West Coast way of life. But the fact that they live in a beautiful climate, that there's an ocean and whatnot, we understand that on the East Coast here. We have oceans. We just have what's called seasons, like winter and fall. So, yeah. This movie also has Sean Penn in it. And as you know, Sean Penn does a lot of dramas. He's not in very many comedies. He was in this film and got into the character so much that he would only answer to Spicoli, and on his dressing room door, it would say Spicoli. Bruce Springsteen's sister, Pam, is in the movie as well. She plays a cheerleader. Cheerleader. Um, Now this is one of my favorite things. I always like looking up is who 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 auditioned for this film, or who almost in said film. And the names on this is amazing. Uh, People who auditioned for this movie are Ralph Macchio, Matthew Broderick, Meg Tilly, Michelle Pfeiffer, Lori Loughlin, Elizabeth Shue, Kelly Preston, Rosanna Arquette, um, Carrie Fisher, Ali Sheedy, and D.B. Sweeney. Now, as I said before, Sean Penn plays a stoner dude named Spicoli. And at one point, uh, the studio wanted Christopher Reeve to audition for Spicoli. And this movie came out in 1982. And this is a few years after Christopher Reeve played Superman. Now, I don't know. Christopher Reeve did not look like a high school student when he made Superman. I don't think he would have been able to pull off playing a high school student, especially a stoner. No one would have been able to accept that role because of who he is and who he played. And Christopher Reeve was so iconic as Superman that for a very long time people only thought of him as Superman. As a matter of fact, people still think of him as Superman. He is the apex of verisimilitude for playing Superman. He is that perfect Superman. He looked it. He acted it. He was he was Superman. At one point, David Lynch, who, as we all know, created Twin Peaks, directed it. He did The Elephant Man. He did Lost Highway. He's done all these crazy movies. At one point, he was offered the chance to direct Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and said that the script was funny, but it wasn't his thing. I'm after learning this. It still boggles my mind to think of what a high school movie by David Lynch would be like. I really do, and it must be crazy. So, yeah. And that, my friends, is Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which honestly, I have to say, it's an enjoyable movie. There are some things in it nowadays that would make some people go, "Ooh, that's pretty heavy and dicey for a movie about high school." And there are subjects in this film that I brought up upon, and it gives it that verisimilitude of real life, of how people are, people were, people can be back then. And I mean, it's a great film. It's a funny film. It's one that, they don't make movies like this anymore. And there are reasons why they don't make, especially this one, they don't make as much anymore. but they should. If you're looking now, if you want to own a copy of Fast Times at Ridgemont High, the Criterion Collection from let's see, either earlier this year or maybe sometime last year, just released the movie on Blu-ray. And I believe there are like a lot of great special features and whatnot on it. So check that out. I want to thank you all for watching, and remember all the links all the shows, YouTube channels I described down in the links down in the description, and also follow me on Instagram and Twitter down in the description as well. And come back again for another great show. And what's coming up? Well, let's say it's coming up. We got October, which is coming up very, very soon. And one of the things we're doing for October is called Spooky October. And mind you, every show we have on that I do goes into a playlist on this channel. And I've just created a playlist. It'll come out in October. That where episodes of this will come out, but I'm doing it after the movie review for Spooky October, and that would probably debut on October 1st. And the first movie we got coming out as a review is Tremors. Tremors is the first of the spooky movies that we got coming out. So look out for that one when it comes out, because it's gonna be great when I start doing that. So we'll be doing such movies as The Frighteners. We'll probably do Black Phone, all different types of spooky movies. Plus we'll probably pepper in some regular movies as well. After the show reviews, we're still doing we're still doing She-Hulk, and coming up very, very soon. Even might already be on the channel. Yeah, matter of fact, by the time you see this, it should be on the channel. There'll be 3 reviews and a separate playlist for the first 3 episodes of Star Wars Andor. I was debating back and forth whether or not I was going to do an after show for it, and I decided why not? I might as well. So we got that to look forward to, and as I said before, I'm trying to come up with some interviews with people, and 2 people I'm trying to get right now, to start it off with. I've gotten questions down for them and all that stuff. I just got to lock in some dates, get these people in and interview them. So I hope that you will indulge me in joining me for what will be called something chat show. Tom Jimmy Jackson presents the interviews. And when that starts up, you will know. So follow me on Twitter to keep in the loop, because I will be announcing when those things will be going up as well. So I want to say thank you, and wherever you go, whoever you are, there you are. And as always, my friends, please remember, no matter where you're going, no matter who you are, it could be Florida, it could be England, it could be anywhere in the world, we are all goof people. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.